All right, today we are going to talk about the Sources tab of the Chrome DevTools, which might be my favorite tab of all of them. Some of you have probably used it before, but a lot of people don't know that you can really use the Sources tab as a full-blown editor or IDE for actually authoring code. So this one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of just tweaking a live site, I have a little side project that I had made. And it's just a really basic site that is for kind of helping teach Chrome DevTools. So if you want to follow along at home, you can go to my GitHub. So it's github.com/jcoop/mastering-chrome-devtools. And you can go ahead and check it out. And it's a really, really simple Node app. So all you have to do is npm install and then run Node on server.js. And it gives you this really basic site, which just helps only because I don't want all the clutter of a real production site with hundreds of assets and things like that. So this one's really basic. So go ahead and open up your DevTools with whatever your preferred method is. And then here we are at the Sources tab. So we've got kind of three things going on here. We've got on the left this kind of whatever you want to call it, like a file tree or something like that, and it'll show you all of the files coming down from the server. So we've got a bootstrap.css file, and we can see it over here, style.css. So this should be pretty familiar with anybody that works with like a text editor, where you have your file tree and then you click on a file and then it shows you over here what the file is. Similarly, we can go ahead and close these. And then on the right, what you have is this step-through debugger, which is something that you probably don't have included in your text editor. And so we're going to cover both of those things today because they're both really cool and really powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the left two panels. So I'm going to kind of drag this one off to the side. And a couple of things. One, as it says very helpfully right here, there's a hotkey, Command P or Control P on Windows and Linux, to actually go ahead and open different files. So it's really easy to go ahead and browse through files like that. The next thing is that editing works just as you'd expect. So you can go ahead and hit, let's see, our body, and we can do like background red or something like that, and it'll change it. And this is exactly the same as if you were in the Elements panel and you went ahead and added, background red or something like that over there. So that's all well and good, and I use the sources a lot for, like looking at code or maybe changing a little bit of JavaScript. I use it a lot for step-through debugging, which we'll do in a minute, but the thing that I wanted to talk about before we move to that is workspaces. The idea with a workspace is that you can drag your local file tree over here, and you can sync them up with the files coming down from the server, and any changes that you make in the Sources tab will then persist to disk, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to go into my Finder, and I'm just going to go ahead and find, oops, I actually had it open. Yeah, this is the folder right here. So this is the app where I downloaded it from GitHub. And basically what you can do is you can, if I can find it here, go ahead and you can take it and you just drag it right here into the Sources tab. And it'll pop up this little request. It needs access to your file system. So go ahead and allow that. So now what we've got going on is we actually have the files coming from localhost. You can see I've got some other stuff like some Google fonts. We can ignore that stuff for now. I'm not sure what this is exactly. Something. But now next to it we have this folder, and this folder is the stuff that my actual project, what's coming down. So if I find a file like, let's say style.css, I can go ahead and find it in my public over here. Or actually, cool. So sometimes it does this. It's not always smart enough. Sometimes when you have a file open for a minute, it'll say, oh, would you like to map this network resource to the one over here? And let's see. All right. Yes, I would like to do that. So basically what we've got going on is I've got my text editor over here. Everything's kind of open and looking at the same thing. So I have Atom with this project open. I have my Finder with this project open. And I have the Sources tab over here with this project open. And so what you can do now is you can go ahead and you can make a change just like we were doing before. So background red. And then I hit Command S to save, or Control S if you wanted. Okay, so let's see. So that did not persist. Give me a second. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open the local version, the style.css. And why is it? It's like, yes, I want to do it. Usually there's a yes or no. Oh, here we go. Establish the mapping now. Okay, cool. So I think they changed the UI a little bit. So either way, you can open either file, and then it'll say, would you like to map it? And I guess you click more and then establish mapping. I think you can also get there by right-clicking on the file. Yeah, map. So let's do that approach. So I'm going to go ahead and not save that. Then I'm going to take a look at this one that's coming from localhost, and I'm going to map it to, here we go, public css style.css. Okay, so now I'm editing this style, and it itself is mapped to the actual style.css. So I can go ahead and do background.red again, and I hit Command S to save, and this time if we go over to Atom, you can see that the change is actually persisted to my file system. So I'm going to slide this over to the side and slide this over to this side, and we can start really seeing, like, if I change this to blue and hit save, it changes it to blue over there. So now any changes I make, like this H1, I can do font size 40 pixels and hit save. Boom, it adds it right in there. So this is, in my opinion, this is like a really preferred way of working on this stuff, because you can poke around. Similarly, now that they're mapped together, you could kind of go through over here and you could change, like, you know, let's see, we could do like font size 40 pixels, and you can see just in real time it's changing, you know, that value over there, 50 pixels, and changes it. So I like to work this way, where I map the CSS resource together, and then I'm in my Elements tab and I start poking around and changing things. You know, you can go up pixel at a time, and it's like, oh, that's perfect. And you never have to copy and paste those changes over again. This is also helpful. I don't know about you, but oftentimes I find myself tweaking CSS for a really long time, and then by the time I'm ready, everything looks perfect. I don't remember exactly what all the changes that I made. You know, maybe I remember the last couple, but I don't remember all of them. So this is a really nice resource where you know, tweak your CSS right here in this visual way, and you just know that it's persisting all of those changes to disk over here. I think I'm going to call this video here and just make a separate video for the step-through debugging, even though they're the same tab, just in case people only want to talk about workspaces or step-through debugging.